Welcome to another edition of Lean Bites, a short demonstration of a lean topic. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Paul Dean, and today's edition of Lean Bites we're going to be looking at this tool called process mapping, a very highly visual tool that simply illustrates the major activities and sequence of a task or process. Simple but very powerful, can be used by anyone in a number of different applications, all the way from understanding the current state to creating a potential future state. And I found it great in a couple of areas. One is as a precursor for creating a standard operating procedure where everyone can be aligned. And the other area I found it of value is as a precursor for drawing up a value stream map. So I'm going to show you two great tips today that'll help you with process mapping. The first one is creating a three-dimensional process map called the swimlane. And the second one is aligning business risk to the process map. So let's get started. Now the first thing we want to do is there are standard symbols to use when explaining a process map. Now I'm just going to simply show you them today and I encourage you to use them. The firstly is a circle, which could be the start or the finish of a process. Then the standard square or rectangle, which is a task or step in the process. And the other one is actually a diamond, which is a decision. So we're going in to a question, we're going out with one solution or out with a second solution. So these are standard symbols. The first tip I'm going to show you is developing a three-dimensional process map called the swimlane. This is where we map step by step the process in sequence, segregating the ownership of each step into lanes, like a swimming pool. The lanes could be horizontal or they could be vertical. This is where we visualize the responsibility and accountability using different colors. And I'm just going to demonstrate. So we have these departments, department 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to create the different colors of the start. And then a different color for the different department. And in this case, I'm going to use a decision box. So we'll be going this way, or finally, right at the end, we're going here. And then like in a process map, we're just going to link these steps in the process together. So very quickly you can see by different departments they have the responsibilities of different steps in a process by putting those steps into lanes. The second tip I'm going to show you is risk. So I'm going to highlight the risk to the business on the map. Now the risk might be related to cost, quality, safety, performance, anything that you might find at the risk, and then by highlighting it we can actually then we can do something about it. So for example, we can do some kind of data analysis, and let's say this particular step gives us a high risk. Perhaps this is where the highest quality issues come from, or perhaps this is where the highest safety concern is. And then let's say this process step down here is the other risk. Then what we can do is we can drive an action. Now that action might be to further evaluate the task, the step of the task, or whatever it might be to determine the risk, and then maybe create an action to drive out or mitigate that risk. So that's process mapping. A very simple but highly visual tool that illustrates the major activities in sequence of a task or process. And I've just shown you a couple of tips today. One is creating a three-dimensional process map, which allows us then to segregate the different steps in the ownership of different departments, horizontally or vertically, and then allows us to visualize the responsibility and accountability by different colors. And the second tip I've shown you is how to align business risk to the process map by indicating on the map those areas of risk. I hope this has been very helpful. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Lean Bites.